Alright, what's up, Facebook? I'm just gonna get on here to discuss the Amir Khan Zab Judah fight and how I think it's gonna play out this Saturday. As you may know, this is a fight for Khan. Um, where he'll be defending his WBA light welterweight title, and he'll be facing Zab Judah. Now, a lot of people are quick to pick Amir Khan simply because he's younger and his stock keeps rising with every fight. But my pick would honestly have to be Zab Judah this weekend, and I'll take this moment to explain why. Um, a lot of people for the past 2-3 years were, talking about how Amir Khan didn't have any chin because he got knocked out by Brady's Prescott in one round. And, the first step to recovery for him was, taking up Freddie Roach as a trainer. And, suddenly he started winning fights against Andre Kotelnik. That was one of the first ones. And then, little by little, he started rebuilding his image. Roach was beginning to teach him how to employ better defense, how to be a better boxer. And he first made his first stateside appearance against Paulie Malignaggi, and he showed us just how good of a fighter he was. It was pretty obvious that he wasn't the same fighter who fought Prescott. But then, that's when we first started hearing all the rumblings from Marcos Maidana. Maidana had been calling Khan out for the longest time just to, because he was his mandatory. And, Maidana would go to the media. He'd go out and make statements and say, well, if you're not going to fight me, vacate your title. And Khan finally had enough of that, and he signed up to fight him in December of last year. And early on in that first round of that fight, he caught him with a good left hook to the liver. And, a lot of us were thinking that the fight would be over right then and there. But Maidana got back up, and, it went on to be, in my eyes, the fight of the year. But it showed us a lot in the fact that, later on in the fight, Maidana started applying more and more pressure. Khan had dominated the early rounds just boxing, but Maidana finally caught up to Khan, and he hurt him badly in the 10th round. And that's when we started, that's when I first started thinking, okay, yeah, he still has that bad chin. But, to my surprise and the surprise of many, Khan was able to withstand Maidana's late round surge. He didn't go down. He was badly wobbled on several occasions. A lot of people are thinking that a lot of factors might have contributed to that. Maybe Maidana just didn't have enough force behind those punches because he was exhausted. Maybe he just couldn't finish him because he was tired. If it had been a little earlier, it could have been a different story. Whatever it was, we just know that Khan made it out. And he went out to pull that. He pulled out the decision in 12 rounds. The interesting thing about that is Freddie Roach himself had said that he had been thinking about throwing the towel during the 10th round. But it's a good thing he didn't, because Khan, with this victory, was able to prove a lot to his critics, myself included. But so that's something that proved to us that he just wasn't the same fighter. He's come a long way. Um, I do know he took up a fight 3 months later. I think it was in March or was it March or April against Paul McCloskey. Oh yeah, on the undercard of Berto versus Ortiz. That fight itself, I didn't really see too much from Khan in that fight. It was a bit of a disappointment. Um, but you know, I would just like to forget that fight in general. Um, but then, okay, so on to Zab Judah. Now, Zab Judah had that fight against Lucas Batiste last November, and a lot of people were saying that Batiste won this fight. It's one of the fights I covered in my last video, but I don't think people should take that as a measuring stick as to how he will perform against Khan this weekend, simply because Lucas Batiste is a pressure fighter, and as we all know, Zab Judah struggles against pressure fighters. That's his kryptonite. Miguel Cotto, Carlos Baldomir, Lucas Batiste, they're all pressure fighters. Amir Khan, he's got incredible hand speed. He's got decent pop, but he's not a pressure fighter by any standard. He's a boxer. So I don't think that using Judah's weakness against pressure fight, nobody should be using Judah's flaws against pressure fighters and how he'll perform against Amir Khan, because it's a different style he'll be up against. I think it'll be more of a boxing match than people would like to expect. Because Khan is a boxer, it'll be more of a boxing match. It'll give Zab Judah more time. I mean, I think to me it's like if Zab Judah doesn't have a pressure fighter up on him the entire 12 rounds, if he's in a boxing match, it gives him more time to think. It gives him more time to employ his boxing skill, more time to employ his speed. If he's not being pressured, he'll have more chances to use his speed. He'll have more chances to think, as it being the chess match, so to speak. And I think, Khan will have reach on him. I do believe he has quicker hands. And Khan has a very, very good jab that could easily keep Zab Judah at bay the entire fight. We could be looking at a boring 12-round decision for Khan, but with Pernell Whitaker in Zab Judah's corner, I do think Zab Judah will have been able to have stepped his game up on defense. I think we will see a slick Zab Judah on Saturday. I don't think Amir Khan has ever faced a fighter amongst the likes of Zab Judah. I mean, people talk about Paulie Malignaggi, but I don't really think Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi. It's obvious he didn't have the pop to get Amir Khan's respect. I'm not gonna say that Zab Judah has Marcos Maidana type power, but he has more power than Malignaggi, and I think his hands are quick enough to where he can get to Khan at some point in the fight and hurt him with a punch that will get Khan's respect at some point in the fight. And the fact that he's a southpaw is all the better. I mean, we all know that Amir Khan spars with Manny Pacquiao. So, if you could spar with Manny Pacquiao and hold your own, that goes a long way into telling what kind of fighter you are. But, Manny being a southpaw and all, such as Judah, that does go for a lot. But, let's get one thing clear. Sparring is not an actual fight. I do think that Zab Judah will surprise us. I mean, we have seen many setbacks in his career. He tends to choke in big fights. When he's been on the biggest stage, he just hasn't been able to perform. This goes as far back as his fight against Costa Zoo, his fight with Floyd Mayweather, Joshua Clottey, Miguel Cotto. A lot of people will point to those fights and say that Zab Judah will never perform well in a big fight environment. But I think this weekend we'll see a much different Zab Judah. I do see confidence in him. I think Pernell Whitaker in his corner will play into whether he wins this weekend. I'm just saying, don't count Zab Judah out. He's probably the slickest fighter Amir Khan has faced up to this point. He's got good power. He's got good speed. His southpaw stance, I'm sure, will present a lot of issues to Amir Khan. So he's got more experience in big fights. I think if Amir Khan goes in there overconfident, if he expects this to be a stepping stone to bigger things, I hope he sees this as tough a fight. I mean, I'm not saying it's tough a fight, but I hope he takes this fight in the same manner that he would take a Mayweather fight, a fight against Pacquiao, or a fight against any of the top guys in this division. I mean, Zab Judah is the IBF light welterweight champion, so he's no slouch. As it goes for me, I'm just saying that Zab Judah will win this fight in an upset. Yep, there goes. That's just my opinion.